The views expressed on this show do not represent those of NTV or its staff.
Good evening, viewers, those in Uganda and those in the diaspora. Thank you for watching NTV. This is once again another Saturday, and this is your popular program, NTV People's Parliament, the only platform that gives wananchi opportunity to speak about issues or policies that affect their everyday life. And we are asking, can Uganda's land support its prosperity drive? Honorable members, you are welcome to this parliament. This is your parliament, the People's Parliament. And thank you for coming to attend the people of Gulu district. And can I say the Greater North. The latest effort by government of Uganda to directly transform the lives of citizens is the Operation Wealth Creation, aimed to improving household income. The target activities like agriculture and livestock are the main projects that government carry out. The 6th edition of the Uganda Economic Update, published by the World Bank, titled Searching for the Grail. Can Uganda's land support its prosperity drive? That is the topic of the day, honorable members. But before we set the ball rolling to the crowd, I would like to invite the expert from World Bank to give us the details of the report. Please, you have the podium, sir. You're welcome to NTV People's Parliament.
Honorable Speaker, my name is Dr. Frank Byamudisha. I'm an expert representing the constituency of experts.
Wonderful.
And my views are purely technical from an expert.
Okay.
The work that we experts have carried out on behalf of the World Bank have analyzed the key issues related to land and the economy of Uganda. And the key finding is that Uganda is a country blessed with very good land. Unfortunately, amidst this plentiful land, there is also poverty. So the key question is, how can this land be used in a way that can address poverty and make Uganda the power of Africa and actually the power of the world? Number one issue to deal with are land disputes. 5 to 11% of Uganda's agricultural production is devoured by land disputes. In fact, in the central region and the Chibale, it's up 25% of agricultural production is devoured by disputes. So if they can be solved, Uganda's economy would be boosted. Secondly, Uganda's economy and the land has got very weak land markets, so that land, the plentiful amount of land, is stuck in the hands of people who do not necessarily want to use it, or even who would not use it as efficiently as those that don't have it, including investors. So land markets need to be improved in such a way that land can be used by those that use it best and can be used for the highest economic activity. Thirdly, Uganda's land is not registered, is not documented. Only 20% is documented. The rest is not documented. So it is open to land grabbing by anybody, since you have no documents present to court.
So is that the reason we have a lot of land grabbing here in Uganda, because of land registration, you think, experts?
Madam Speaker, from the research we have carried out worldwide, although investors have been going around the world buying land, particularly since 2008, when land prices and energy prices went up, it's mainly Africa whose land only 10% is registered. For Asia, Europe, Latin America, where registration is much higher, less land was taken by investors. And where investors took the land, it was through negotiation and the landowners got a very good deal. But for Africa, where land registration is only 10%, that's where generally land grabbing has taken place. Not just Uganda. Actually, Uganda is not so bad, but look at countries like Mozambique, Ethiopia, Sudan. Millions and millions of acres have been taken in questionable deals.
May I have somebody from government? What has government done to ensure that the land supports our prosperity?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name's Dennis Obo from the constituency called Minister of Land, Housing and Urban Development.
You're welcome to NTV People's Parliament.
Thank you. It is government's commitment to make sure that everybody who is staying on land actually has documents, legal documents that ascertain their ownership of land so that they can live securely on their land without the fear of being evicted or the fear of causing landlessness. It is also government's commitment to ensure that we increase the percentage of registered land from the 20% at least to 40%. And this we are going to do with support from development partners to ensure that we actually physically plan our land, whether it's customary land or any other land, we shall plan it. We shall actually also help in ensuring that we register it. We shall carry out surveys, register, and issue titles. We are going to do this collectively. It's not something that shall be done only by the ministry, but all stakeholders that have interest on land shall be there present. We shall follow a participatory system where everybody agrees. Where there are no agreements, Madam Speaker, we shall not title. We shall actually push it for mediation so that at the end of the day, whatever we are titling, we are giving people titles that they agree with. I would also like to say that in this whole process, we are going to be very transparent, we are going to be very honest, and we are going to be very, very open. We want, at the end of the day, to have something that benefits everybody. We are also hoping that our actions shall be able to contribute to the productivity of the land. We no longer want people to live in fear, because once you're in fear, then your productivity is actually reduced. So once somebody has papers that show that they are the conclusive owners of that land, then definitely we know that their productivity will increase and thereby contributing to Uganda's development.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The ball now rolls to the people. Can Uganda's land support its prosperity? Please. Oh, yes.
Thank you very much for us to discuss this very important issue in life. In economics, land is one of the factors of production. And when we talk about land, we are talking of our lives. We have a lot of land without use in our area. And it is very important for us to have guidance how to use this land. Mm-hmm. In spite of this, we have had problems in our land. The source of the problem has been the insurgency we had for 20 years, where people were collected from their various places of residence to a concentrated camp. Recently, when the insurgency was finished, people started going back to their original places. This is where we experience greediness of other people who started grabbing land of the poor people. People who have enough capital, they have decided to go and capture huge length of land at the expense of the poor ones. Members of this august house, let us utilize land. We welcome investment. We had investment in the Acholi sub-region in the 60s, before the insurgencies. The Acholi Ranch. Some of you might not have seen Acholi Ranch and Acholi Ranch. This has been the biggest investment, which if we are not careful, we shall not get such investment in our area. It was a very big ranch with thousands of cattle and other animals.
Please, somebody wants to give you information,
yeah, please.
Honorable. Just 1 minute information, please.
Madam Speaker, I would like to inform the precarious speaker that Achua Ranch and others were government investments. They were not private investments. So in that regard, I would like to further inform him that it would be proper if he distinguishes between private investment and public investment. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, this is a language problem only. We talk of investment, whether it is by government or by private. We have not individualized this thing. So you have to be very careful how to distinguish, to put points of information in terms of language. Okay. You see, investment is development, which is very important.
Wind up, Honorable, wind up, please.
Is very important. And when we just looked at land as if you are looking at video, I think it is useless. People should be advised how to lease their land. You cannot just have land and your children don't go back to school.
Okay,
you cannot have land, you sleep without food. Okay. You cannot have land, 10,000 of acres. Then you get starved. Madam Speaker, this is an information I want to give to this August House. That land is a very important issue to us. It is part of our life.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Please grab the floor, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and the whole House. I think it is time, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we must get out of this customary ownership kind of thing where lands are actually being owned by a lot of people. The land, our land must be surveyed and must be having title so that this question of customary land title, you say don't go for it, is only trying to waste our time for nothing. This is actually something to do with politics. People are trying to capitalize on that one because they want to stay longer, confusing people. Where is the problem really? The problem is actually with our leader because they're not telling people the correct thing. How long are we going to stay in that situation where you look at the land, you don't know what to do with it? Are you going to cut grass? Look at the point, this point, Amuro, where people are saying you are going to be slaves, you are going to... I would rather be a slave when I'm getting money, start from somewhere, and my child is going to be a minister one day. How are you going to... All the time looking, with your small hole, are you going to dig and pay somebody in the university? Surely, pay somebody. Every semester, about 2 million, and you are looking at the grass. Ladies and gentlemen, let us be very objective. We must be very objective. The most important thing is the money that is with you. Go to nowhere here, where land is actually being leased. Go and see how new buildings are being erected, even in villages. People are leasing out the land. It's very important that we have this land leased so that we get the money. We are not going to remain poor, crying. Let me tell you, we are in the world. Achul is in the world. If we're not careful, the world is going to swallow us. Because these are changes. Almost everywhere, people are having land title. People are having something to show this is my land. For you, you don't have anything to show it. There's one point I want to bring forward. If we are not very careful, the expert was telling us that 30% of the land which we have is not being used. People are going to plot coordinates in office and get this land. They will. What is wrong? Forging signatures and buying their way through. I belong to one of these big tribes here in Buobo. There are lands we wanted to survey. When we took our form, they said the land has already been surveyed. But nobody ever went to look at that land. The LC3s and what. They have never gone, but the land is already plotted. Now, what are we waiting for? Look at the land for people to plot it off? Let us look for the title so that we can safeguard our land.
What is actually bringing issue in land use in Uganda? To me, it's the level of the debate. What do I mean here? The information given to the landowners. Right now we are debating about land. My wish could be that when the government is developing this type of debate, they should segment it in levels. Let the youth be given opportunity to debate about the land because they are the future owners of the land. To the women who are stakeholders, the elders, these people who are talking here, our elders, our parents, they have information of what happens with land previously. But we, the youth, we don't know. Now, for us to accept actually the government investment to bring development, it needs the youth to be educated how important it is. Yes, in other regions, it's there. Why is it there? The sensitization and debate has been actually localized. You get women talk about how important land is. You get youth have their own group discussion about it. But now here the problem is, yes, the government is doing all it takes. The land committee exists in the district level. But it is not actual practical there that they go down to debate it. Now, if you mix up these groups, the parents, the elderly people say, no, for us, we don't need this. The youth say this one is better. At the end, we can see the result, what happens in Yamuru. But if the approach, the Madivant group used a better approach of going to the government agencies, say that we need investment here. Then they roll down to the grassroots, categorizing the groups, making them discuss and see the benefits of the land that will help them. That's one. Two, I've heard the expert talking about the three problems, the land dispute, weak land market, and unregistered land. Our citizens in the north have taken no blame. The government has been doing all what it takes to ensure this is done, but people don't know how important land registration is, having a land title. So, the fight that is taking place, the government is responsible. In one area of having a weak system of conducting the sensitization. If a person in the village there is told that if this land is registered, even though you die tomorrow, nobody will come and pick it. The government is quietly just not giving the information to people. Okay. That's why you see people struggling, fighting over lands every day, now and then. You talk about in Europe where lands are registered. People have been educated, but here, education is low. Okay. We are aware about that. As people are not educated, the educated people are the ones actually becoming a problem by grabbing the land, because they know that if we get a big chunk of land, acres as he's saying, it's better for his children in the future. What about the uneducated? So my appeal in this debate would be that let government add more effort to go down, sensitize the local people that this land is yours, but make it yours by having the land title. Women, children, youth, let elders be there to guide us. Okay. The expert come and because. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Prince.
I want to agree with the findings of the consultant, the expert, about the challenges of land use and land management in this country. Let me add two or three, the causes of all those challenges, of all those problems. One is the issue of corruption and fraud.
Corruption everywhere, in every department.
That makes it...
But mostly it is in the land.
And in land is worse. Unless we can address the issue of corruption squarely, issues of land dispute will live with us forever.
Yeah.
Number two is land grabbing, by what my brother Dun said, by powerful individuals, those who have connections. They go and get chunks and tracts of land.
They have godfathers.
They have godmothers and godfathers. Not only godfathers, but godmothers too. And when you try, you are not able to handle the issue legally, you just miss out. And then thirdly, the issue of intimidation. I witnessed what happened in Apa recently. Apa is in Amuru district, where the community were given, was it 3 days, to leave that chunk of land. And when the 3 days expired, armored vehicles and police and army were there to evict them, you know. And yet, if you look at history of that place, the land belonged to Amuru district, belonged to Achule district previously as one district.
Can Uganda's land support its prosperity? This land, the soil where we came from, the soil where we are eating from and where we shall return, can it support our prosperity? You are watching NTV People's Parliament sitting here in Gulu district. Let's go for a short break. And when we come back, you are going to hear more from what the people of Gulu have to say. Welcome back. You are still watching NTV People's Parliament, seated here in Gulu district, discussing a very important topic, the land question. And the question is, can Uganda's land support its prosperity? And the people of Gulu are speaking. How can land help them prosper? Yes, Honourable Member, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and the House at large. The question here, can Uganda's land support its prosperity drive? The answer is yes, but the following have to be done. One, the political wing in Uganda, the political section, actually from the different sectors have to play a different role. The different stakeholders have to play a collective role into making forward the drive a through drive. Because one, you realize that politicians in this country are using land as a political capital to return themselves regularly back to Parliament, to district council halls, by giving uncoordinated information. These are selfish information that is making this country lag behind and is making our use of land fail. I come from Amuru district as a constituency, whereby I am one of the landlords in the area where Madivani is taking our piece of land for the development of the sugarcane plantation. This is being wrongly outside informed here, but we, the community, had a bottom-top approach rather than top-bottom approach of negotiation with Madivani, whereby it was mediated by the Attorney General of Uganda in the presence of very many of the farmers that were there, or landowners who were present. And we reached a very consensus deal that we are ready to hand over. We are at the point where the government valuers plus our own valuers is going to evaluate the land, and then we get compensation, or those of us who shall be having land around that area shall be outgrowers. And this kind of move makes it possible for better use of the land, rather than confusing our electorate that with information that makes us volatile, makes us violent, and at the end of the day, we shall only end up losing land. The next point is, we should have legalization process of our land as a serious drive. We call upon all the possible stakeholders, persons in positions of responsibility, because the greatest challenge here is the cost of bringing area land committee to inspect your land is charged differently at different sub-counties, at different fees, and some of these fees are not affordable by the common man who owns a big chunk of land and who is not informed. So we need to have a system that government develops such that legalizing this land becomes cheaper, people are willing to. Then the other... Wind up, please. Yes. We need to build mutual trust among the stakeholders. At the moment, the landowners are not trusting government. Government are trying to do their role. But this is coming about because there are certain misinformations among people, and I call upon the land reform systems in the Ministry of Lands to really quicken up their steps, to really pass on the dissemination of information, and also to make sure that the common man understands. According to me, Madam Speaker, the land that we have can support prosperity for all, and then we also need list of interested investors to come out and to be displayed out to us and to be brought down to us. Like last week, we had a list of investors from South Africa who are interested in partnering with the landowners in Amuru. Okay. So this is the kind of thing we need to do.
The expanding population is putting our land on pressure. You realize that most of our land is being used by investors. As the poor people, because we don't have money, we find ourselves not investing, we find ourselves left out. People are coming in, they are getting money from our own land and taking it into their own countries. We are bringing in investors, they are good, they are boosting our development, but to a great extent, we should also look at the poor people. we shouldn't always look at the investors for our development. Look at an old woman in the village. Find a way of making that woman survive. We should check on those people who are coming in our country. To what extent are they boosting our development? If there is no great development, then we shouldn't look into that. We should put our main emphasis on development. You realize we have very many people in different villages who just come into our country, but when they are from different countries and they are not doing something great towards our development, they're just encroachers, making our land not even enough for us.
There are certain issues that are coming with land that are not being resolved. We look at the issues of population growth. So we are not looking at how best we can manage population growth and also manage the issue of land. So there is a lot that needs to be done, and there's a lot that is left to be desired. Now, Madam Speaker, as some of the resolutions, as in my wisdom I thought wise to bring out, is that we need land reforms as a country. Now, some of the things that should be in these land reforms. One, there's been the issue of sensitization. They have been talking about the issues of sensitization. Now, the people or the local people that are at the grassroots level need to be informed that when you register your land, there are certain interests that accrue to it. One, you can mortgage your land and make the land valuable and usable with the resources that you get from the money that you mortgage the land with. They need to be sensitized and informed that you can make land or you can lease land to someone as a private lease, which majority of the people in the population do not know about this. So they need to be informed. And then secondly, we also need, because I think one of the members or the representatives from the Ministry of Land would agree with me that in the past we had what we call land tribunals. Because if there was a land dispute, it would actually go straight to the land tribunal and not go through the court process, Madam Speaker. So these land tribunals were actually abolished due to the fact that we had the LC courts and the LCs have not been elected for quite a long period of time. So if we can bring back these land tribunals to actually resolve land disputes from within the tribunals themselves and not going through the court process, then I think we shall have a viable prosperity with use of land. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable. Please.
We have only 20% of our land which is registered. Now, what happens to the rest of the percentage? Meaning, the security of our land is still unclear. Unclear in the sense that we don't have the right to those lands. He talked of the government enforcing a way of making all the lands registered. But I'm asking one question. Can the government of Uganda do that? No. That's to me.
She has answered herself.
Because one, it has been so many years that this land is still not registered. Can you do it at the last point now? No. It will only happen if we look at our land as something valuable, something that can help the future children coming behind us. Because we are not the only generations here. We still have more children coming behind us. Why should we leave our land or neglect our land? Where will our grandchildren stay? So the 20% of land which is being registered is not enough for the current population of Uganda.
Thank you.
Two, let's look at the population of Uganda. It's really growing rapidly, not only by the Ugandans, but also the foreigners. We are all to stay in this 20% registered land. Where shall we go? That's why you find that our land behind home there is being grabbed forcefully. Moreover, yeah, we are poor. Since Uganda is still a developing country, we cannot put development all over. We have little resources. The technology we use here is very little. You find roads here coming every day. Today we are putting another road here. What do you expect this person with a building here to do or to go? So this too much infrastructure is being put also is another problem.
Madam Speaker, what all these members in the August House were trying to talk was to define what's land tenure system in Uganda. Because they were debating what the government is supposed to do what. Our village there, we do not understand what's a freehold. What do you mean by the leased land? What do you mean the government should now resolve at the lease system, which means we're going for rent? A person in a village there does not have a single money to go for facilitating area land committee. But you said you're supposed to what? To lease his land.
And the area land committee cost, per now, let me say my father has done it, is 1.6 million. When you come to the district land board, in order for your land to be what? Leased, how much do you pay in the district? Where is the government helping these poor people? We are not rejecting. We are not refusing, by the way. We need this civilization to take place, but in the right way. More so, Madam Speaker, our land that we talk right now is a very productive land that can support real our prosperity. The poor person has a land there. Remember, in the history, as my brother said, we have federal land system, which was for the tribe. We have the one which we call what? Customary, which is for our parents. But now they have it. What should the government now set aside so that when these investors are coming from outside, they can really approach them so that they can really do that development that we mean.
Okay.
Therefore, the land tenure system is very poor in Uganda, cannot support our what? Prosperity.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The 6th edition of the Uganda Economic Update published by the World Bank. We are searching for the Grail. Can Uganda's land support its prosperity? Can our land support our prosperity? You know, government is working hard to ensure that everybody is rich. You are watching NTV People's Parliament, sitting here in Gulu district, discussing a very important topic, the land question. Can our land support our prosperity? Let's go for a short break. And when we come back, we are going to look more on the way forward, on what government should do and what citizens should do to ensure that our land supports our prosperity. Welcome back. You are still watching your favorite station, NTV, and your popular program, NTV People's Parliament, seated here in Gulu District. You remember this is the only platform that gives you opportunity to speak about issues that affect your everyday life. And the people of Gulu are speaking about land, the land that feeds them. Yes, Honorable Member, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. My name is Edward Bale.
What is the way forward?
There is a wide scope for policy to be implemented in Uganda to improve the land registration.
Yes.
And I want to support and stress the fact that land registration is key for social cohesion, that's number one, to avoid conflicts among its neighbors, and also to avoid conflicts between the native people and also, you see, the investors. If there is, documentation that really show who is owning the land, then negotiation, then, this sort of bargaining between an investor who is going to help the community and also, the owners of the land can go into this sort of market. A market is established automatically as long as there is proper land registration. Madam Speaker, allow me also to say that whereas we have noted that there has been a sectoral shift in GDP composition with the, agriculture now lagging behind, the service sector has taken over agriculture. But in terms of employment, we see that, the majority are still, concentrated in agriculture. There is no sectoral shift in employment despite the sectoral shift in GDP composition. This means that there is very low productivity. Too many people producing very little. And when you in terms of productivity, that is so little. And in terms of income, that is so little, meaning that people that are, doing agriculture activities on land are earning so little.
Okay.
And in terms of poverty reduction, it becomes almost impossible. You see, for people to participate in the growth process and earn the dividends of growth, then they should be part and parcel of the growth process, which we term technical as inclusive growth.
Okay.
Madam Speaker, without solving the land system, the land question in Uganda, we cannot attain inclusive growth. The majority of our people shall be left behind the growth drive. They will not be part of the growth. And also to stress the fact that wealth is not measured by how many hectares of land that you have, but how productive are you
Yeah.
with that piece of land?
Okay.
And this one cannot be attained unless proper land registration, security of tenure is emphasized. And because of time, Madam Speaker, allow me to just say that security of tenure is long overdue.
They should also reduce registration fees for registering land, because majority of our people cannot afford that. Some people even spend 5 months to get 500,000 in the villages there.
This land, which is idle, is non-productive. It is making us remain in poverty when it's supposed to yield to us. And unfortunately, Uganda is a country whose situation is a bit paradoxical. The poor own land, the rich don't have land. It's the rich now who know the value of land. Here we are still talking about whether we register or not register. By the way, let me tell you, if we don't register, we don't have that land. When you go to land office and the area is not, there is no titling in the area, it's vacant. It has no owner. So the people of Acholi, you are rich in land. Let's grab our land properly in terms of ownership.
And register.
Now, if you can't utilize this land, then that's a source of opportunity to you to become rich. Rent it out. Don't lease it, actually. That one is a bit more complicated because maybe it gives a lot of time. Let people come and what? Plant maize and give you money for one season.
Our land is productive. People are already prospering. People can only be empowered by the government helping the people do demonstrations, show them how to use their land, but not take it away from them. Because if you take away the land from the people, or you're trying to tell them that their land is not their own, that is where the problem comes.
The most issue that has been causing this issue is they are getting people whom they call them like they are representatives. They are the people who are going to represent people in this area, in this district. Let it be personal. Let them go to the people particularly and talk to them as the owners of the land. Not to say, we have appointed these 10 people, they are going to represent you as a district of Gulu, as a district of Kampala. No, let us stop that.
Much as leasing out our land is very good, I don't buy it as the best option. There is idle land that these people are not using. However, what is government doing in order to see that these people who have idle land are actually using it? Government should go on and sensitize people, let them employ the specialists.
What is the way forward now? What can we do to ensure that the land that we have supports the prosperity drive?
I think there is need for the government to understand that the term investor or investment does not mean foreigners. Investment means any individual
including
who can
yourself.
do his or her thing profitably on the land which he or he has. So if the government can come up to assist the people who have their land, if I have 1,000 acres of land, 40,000 acres of land, the government has never come to ask anyone who has 1,000 acres of land to give him or her tractor. But the government wants that piece of land to be used by someone called investor. Now, who is that investor? People are sitting thinking that someone called investor may come to use my land, whom the government is bringing.
Okay.
Strengthening the institutions that handle land management and land use, both at sub-county level and at district level. The third way forward is accelerating, as the expert said, the process of getting land documents, certificates. One member suggested that it would be good if customary land tenure system can be issued with what he calls Certificate of Customary Ownership, CCO. And I think if this matter is taken up with our cultural institution in Acholi sub-region here, it should enable us to go faster and protect our land.
As government, what do you think government should do, and what do you think the people of Uganda should do to ensure that our land supports our prosperity drive?
Madam Speaker, as an international expert with more than 40 years of international experience, having heard the honorable members of this parliament, I would like to give a 5-point program and refer you to countries that have done it, and done it very well, fast and quickly. First, in order to empower customer land owners, communal land owners, you should do it like Mexico did, so that the land owning groups, clans, big families can become legal entities and be register their land so that they can enter into leases, enter into sales contracts, enter into joint ventures. 2, in order to ensure that all individually owned land in Uganda is registered quickly and cheaply, we should look at Rwanda. Rwanda was able to do it in 5 years. Uganda should be able to cover actually the whole country in 5 years, but ensuring that that does not compromise communally owned land. Thirdly, in order to ensure that land reform works for the poor, we should learn from the case of Malawi, where with assistance from the World Bank, they were able to use the willing buyer, willing seller approach to transfer unused land from the run-down plantations, transferred to landless people, given them inputs, fertilizer, and seeds, and they were able to increase their production and incomes by 40% per year, hence achieving prosperity for all. Fourthly, in order to ensure that land is used productively, particularly in urban areas, including Gulu, plus in rural areas where people have received big land titles for land like 1,000 hectares and are not using it, that should be taxed. But taxing only those that are well off, not taxing the poor. And finally, in order to strengthen land institutions, not only for land administration but also judiciary, it's important to use technology like Mauritius has done, Rwanda has done. The Ministry of Land has started, but it needs to accelerate so that all land records can be computerized in order to put an end to fraud, to duplicate titles, so that we can have clean titles in order to get collateral, to use land as collateral, get loaned from the banks. Okay. With that 5-point program, Madam Speaker, I would like to end here, but compliment you as the greatest speaker in the world for the greatest people's parliament. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, international expert. Please, in 2 minutes, to wind up.
It is actually the role of the district local government that should be able to set bylaws and give the fees that regulate area land committees. In most districts, this has not been done, and therefore it has left the people prone to all these unofficial fees. 2, we have taken up the issue of sensitization. We have actually begun with the development forums. They are going to be the link between us and the communities. These development forums have started in the municipalities, but they shall also be in the rural areas. We have also done materials which they shall be using to pass over messages to you. 3, it is actually important now that any landowner in Uganda must have legal documentation if you are actually to protect your rights and interests. So we shall again commit ourselves to partner with whoever is willing to help us push this process. Where people still don't have trust in government, we shall actually partner with our development forums and others to make sure that people actually get the papers that provide ownership. Okay. The last one is the issue of operationalizing all the very good provisions that are in the land policy. We have a land policy. It has all these provisions you people have mentioned. All we need is to tag resources to it and implement them. Once we do this, then we shall have security of tenure and optimal land use for this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You have heard the people of Gulu have spoken. They have brought solutions on how government can handle the situation and how Ugandans can handle the situation. Because of time constraints, we cannot continue with this show. I am aspired to inspire Ugandans before I expire. And with the powers conferred upon me as the Speaker of People's Parliament, I adjourn this House until next week.
The views expressed on this show do not represent those of NTV or its staff.